Gary, you mentioned better, right? And that's one thing I wanted to talk to you about, Stephen, and ask you is this immersion in the technology, this full immersion. Why is this medium so much more impactful for learning? And is there, sources that you can point towards that show that that's true?
Sure. Here's the number, 80%. So 2 years ago, a Miami Children's Hospital decided to improve their training. As you know, at a hospital, sure you have doctors, but you have a lot of people who are paraprofessionals, and even some people who come in who may not have a 4-year degree, who've not gone through a lot of training on how to do basic things like intubation, drawing blood, et cetera. So how do you train those people to do it better and so that they retain that information? So the Miami Children's Hospital built this curriculum in VR to train 5 different things, including CPR, Heimlich maneuver, intubation, drawing blood, and a couple of others. And so then they measured the retention of that information. So there was a control group, those who trained the normal way, and then there was those who trained in virtual. They measured the results 1 week later, and then they measured the results 12 months later. Here's what they found. 80% of those trained in virtual reality retained the information 12 months later. 20% of those trained the traditional way retained the information 1 week.
What?
Later.
Wow. That's crazy.
Wow. That's amazing. What a difference.
What we know is, and on my website, I've got this graphic, but they took students in school and they did a EEG brain scan while they were learning. So there's 3 different brain scans. One is the base state, before there's no learning, just sitting there. Then the second was as students sat in a class, the teacher's in front of them and teaching, and it shows there's an uptick, a small uptick in brain activity. Then the third brain scan was when they had a virtual reality headset on, learning in this completely immersed way with the whole world cut out, learning with audio and visual and kinesthetically and doing and all these things. And there was a dramatic uptick in the amount of brain activity inside virtual reality. And so what we believe is the case is that when your brain is actively engaged, you retain more information than when it's dramatically less engaged. It makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's the efficacy that we talk about.
Sure.
That's something else. So what's a couple success stories you've had so far, and what are you working on, Steve, in this business?
Yeah. So going back to our K-12 company, I was at my old University of Iowa, with some of my fraternity brothers, and one of them is a superintendent of schools in the Chicago area, and he said to me that what you really need is a frog and animal dissection virtual reality, because Illinois passed a law that says students cannot be forced to dissect animals, but schools do provide a viable alternative. So we took that, and I went home, and 10 weeks later, we had frog dissection inside virtual reality with a national finalist for Teacher of the Year. We turned her into a hologram, and we put her inside the virtual reality. And so she teaches the students how to do this. Wow. So we end up submitting that for an award. And HTC Vive, you may know HTC as a phone maker, but they're the #1 VR headset company in China, and #2 in the US. They have an annual award for the best virtual reality experiences. And so we submitted ours. 8 studios around the world were nominated, only 1 from the United States, and that was us. And we ended up winning the best virtual reality education experience in the world. Another company won best gaming experience, but we were education. So that was a big feather in our cap. And in addition,
this could be a campaign for saving frogs as well.
There you go. And actually, we also have done cats, because I didn't know they dissected cats in school, and pigs and sharks And now we're working on little starfish. So and the other big win we've had is that Microsoft has only licensed content from one company in the world for their schools, VR content, and that's us. So I feel very positive that at this point we are, if not the leading company in the world in the education space, we are on a very short list.
So mention that name again, Chalk Bites, right?
So Chalk Bites is our corporate training company.
Yep.
Victory XR is our K-12 company. So chalkbites.com if somebody's curious about working on a project, and victoryxr.com if people are looking for curriculum for their schools.
And Chalk Bites, the new company is under Chalk Bites?
Yeah, the training, the corporate training for the forklift training and paving and child abuse, that's all under chalkbites.com.
Yep. And talk about the cool model you have, because I love it. And you're basically investing with, you're investing with your partner, the customer, right? If it's something that can be scaled, right? A learning technology that can be scaled. Tell us how that works. I'm really excited about that as well.
Yeah. So essentially, if someone says we think that we have a model that we could reduce training time or improve training time in virtual reality, what we will do is up to a certain, until we run out of shares in this program, we will allow them to invest in the company. We will build them a virtual reality simulation, and then they not only own part of the company, but they get a residual commission every time that product sells. So if the company succeeds, they succeed in three ways. First of all, they have the use of the product, which improves their training in their company. Mm-hmm. Second of all, they get a royalty or a commission every time it sells anywhere in the world. And third, the more it sells, the better the valuation of the company.
Absolutely.
And so three different ways that a company can succeed if they have the right plan, if we believe that it works in our model.
And what if a company does not invest in the mothership, but they think they got a great idea that can be scaled? And is there some partnership there as well?
Absolutely. If they don't want to invest in the company, they certainly can choose to talk with us, and we, if we think it's a good fit for our developers, we will take on their project, build the project for them, and then they can run with it. We do this with two Fortune 500 companies currently, and they don't invest in our company, but they do need AR, VR training tools.
Awesome.